When I think about advocating for myself and for other people, I think about making situations better for every person who has a disability, but sometimes it doesn't always work out in my favor. When I started to advocate for myself, it was for a communication device that I really needed, and I found it very stressful. And I am still advocating for myself. It still is very stressful but hugely important to do. I have been advocating for myself for 25 years now, and I still have a hard time with advocating for myself. I found advocating for myself is a real need, but it makes life much better for myself and for other people in general. I really have to think about what is the best for myself, and I try to think about what I couldn't advocate for myself, and by me doing this, will this help others in the future? I have to judge the situation that I am into, by way of making the situation better for me. This is very important to do and very hard. I had people judge me and ask me, "Why are you doing this, Tyson?" But I have to keep in mind that I need to let people know what is going on with the situation that I am in. I have to really think about the situation that I am in, because I hate having more problems, but I have to learn that situations have to be addressed, and I have many people tell me this. Every time that I advocate for myself, I learn something new. I have to learn to be kind when I advocate for myself. When I first started advocating for myself, I used to be angry, and I wrote emails without really thinking about what I was writing to people. I had to learn to be kind to different people in my life to get what I need and want in my life. This was really hard to learn and still is hard. I am still learning these great important skills, and I believe most of the people with disabilities are learning to advocate for themselves and for other people also. I have a really hard time judging the whole big picture before I act on a situation by advocating for myself, and this can be frustrating for myself. When I have to talk to people like my staff in my house, I try to be really nice and professional about the situation. I found that talking to a person on my staff about what I need from them as a member of my staff is very hard sometimes. Sometimes people think they know much more than me because they are not disabled, and they don't really listen to me as a boss. There are a lot of people that automatically think they are much smarter than me because they don't have a disability. People just have no clue about how smart people with disabilities can be a lot of the times too. I really feel that sometimes many people with disabilities are some of the smartest people in the world. We get judged as not being so smart because our bodies will not do what we want our bodies to do, and because of the way we look with our disabilities. But we are people. I strongly believe that people with disabilities should really advocate for themselves, or nobody will stand up for our rights. We have hopes and dreams just like everyone else. The question is, how do we do that if we don't learn to advocate for ourselves and be comfortable with doing this? We all have learned this as young children, but I believe this takes experience and learning to advocate for yourself and myself too. It is really hard to learn this skill because some people will question you and what you're saying to them. There are sometimes people will really question you, and you are simply saying your basic needs to people because you are only human. There we get questioned on our choices. I am glad that the people who have disabilities stood up for their rights to live independently and be into the community. This allows the disabled people to have a somewhat normal life, and the people who don't have a disability learn we belong in the community. This has been seen as a basic right to have people with disabilities to live independently without ever setting foot into a group home or having to live with their parents for life, unless they choose to live with other people or to. live with family members. In this day and age, I think we are at a turning point with all of the technology. With this turning point, the car companies are starting to make self-driving cars and trucks. When I think about this technology, I automatically think of will I see a robot helping me in my apartment someday? I also think about how people like myself will advocate for this technology and how we will have to advocate for use of technology in our houses when it is very hard to find people to work for us. I believe this will take years of people advocating for this change and years of testing before we will see this happen to our community. For the time being, we need to stick together and advocate for the things that we need for ourselves. This can be from our family, friends, our services, and also from the government too. This takes skills and a lot of patience on all sides. Everyone has their needs and wants, and we have a choice where we live too. All of this comes to we are all just human and all of us have special needs.